like that. It's a nice memorial. Well, good morning folks, it's Paul here from All About Motorbikes. How are you all doing? What a nice day again. We're having some grand weather. It may be a tad cold, but it's not too bad on the whole. So today's vlog for you folks is a bit of history really. Don't know whether you're going to like it, but for me, I enjoy this kind of stuff, so that is why I'm doing it. I've got 5 items that I'm going to be doing, and one is the old Hutton Gate Gisborne Railway station. I just want to show you what it is, the state it's in now, and also some pictures I'll put up of what it used to be like. And then I'm going to go to a feat of engineering with the Saltburn viaduct as well. Absolutely brilliant piece of engineering that. And then we're going to go from there down into Redcar to look at the old World War I acoustic mirror that was used during the First World War, and it was primarily made and used before radar was even invented. So we're going to go to there, then we're going to go to the funicular hill cliff at Saltburn, and I'll explain what that's all about. And from there I think there's an old mortuary that I just want to show you, and that should conclude the vlog. So first up is going to be Hutton Gate railway station. So I'm making my way to Gisborne now, and that's where we'll be. I'm going to pull in this bus stop. There you are, you can see it from here. Hello, right, we're here now, and I'm going to show you this railway. And the station is actually still, well, as you can see over there, whether you can see, is the station house. We'll have a walk down, which is privately owned now. And here, as you can see, is the platform itself, still in relatively good nick as well. And this was opened in 1867, and it was opened by North Eastern Railways. And when it closed on I think it was 2nd of March 1964, it was owned then by British Railways. So, and as you can see, everything's still intact. A lost and forgotten relic. I think it's very important that we remember our history. So yeah, this then went on to the next place I'm going to, which is Saltburn Viaduct, and that was an epic piece of engineering. And all this railway was predominantly designed to carry iron ore and all the other from the mines, Skelton, Gisborne, Boosbeck and all that, all to join and transport all the iron ore. But then obviously within that same year they opened it up as a passenger line as well. So on to the next one. One thing I do love about this kind of area, you've got rolling hills, you know, and it's not just flat ground. Well, there's nothing wrong with flat ground, especially if you're going out on a push bike. But around this neck of the woods you have to be fit, don't you? This little viaduct went into a bit of a state, not so much in the actual construction or the brickwork or anything like that, the blockwork should I say. It was just that there was trees growing on the top of it and everything. It wasn't good. Now up here is where this viaduct is. We will pull in, hopefully see this. I'm going to pull into here. And just there you will be able to see the viaduct itself. Right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn this camera off and put the other camera on so we can have a closer look. So here we are, folks, we're at here, Slateworth Viaduct, as you can see in the background probably. This was constructed in 1858, I think it took a few years, 4 years, 1862 it was completed. Now it was built by Sir Lothian Bell, Sir Joseph Lothian Bell, and he made this so to take and transport all the iron ore that was taken out of the mines that was from here, Sparwood, Kilton, Broughton and all those mines, and it would be taken down to Port Clarence Ironworks where they would obviously make iron out of it. But what a piece of engineering. So what I'll do now is I'll show you, without me in the frame, this lovely piece of architecture. As you can see, it stood the test of time. It's been round since 1858 and it's still as good as today as it was back then. Just shows you the engineering that took place back in those days was second to none. So now we're going to go on to the next item, which is a World War I relic. And this is actually happens to be in Redcar itself, so that's where we're off to next. This is called an acoustic mirror, I believe, and was round before the days of radar, and it would let us know if there was incoming aircraft. So I'll tell you a bit more about that when we get down to it, so bye for now. So on to the next one, folks, and I do apologise for the traffic noise around here because it is absolutely unbearable. As I was filming that, it was really getting on my nerves. But it just shows you the volume of traffic that's around these days, doesn't it? So as I was saying, the next thing that we're on to now, and we're going to go see, is a World War I relic. It's an acoustic mirror that was used during World War I to let, all over the northeast coast actually, to let us know whether there was any Zeppelins coming in to attack us. So that's where we're off to next. Hopefully you'll enjoy this little bit of history. So Redcar, here we come, and then after that, folks, we're on our way to Saltburn, and we're going to go look at the cliff lift, the funicular cliff lift, and also the mortuary, and that should conclude today's history lesson. I do apologise for that, but I do enjoy making this, and I do love history. I never did as a kid, and that's a funny thing. When I was a kid, I hated school, full stop. But as I've got older, I appreciate the past now more, and I think that's a good thing. I think every person should be able to learn when they're ready, not when they're forced to, because I think you learn more. But when I think back to the days gone by and how these things were constructed and put together by, you know, people for this, that and the other, it's unbelievable. They didn't have cranes and things like that like what we've got. Now I have to remember how to get down to this place, because I've never been here before and I've only looked at it once on Google Maps, so this is going to be all from memory. I sort of know my way around the area anyway, so that helps. And when I looked at Google Maps, and I knew exactly where I needed to go. Hopefully I can remember that now. So the next stop is the World War I acoustic mirror. So here we are, folks, we're not too far away from this, and it's just down here really. Built, this modern housing estate has been built around this thing, which is phenomenal really. I'm not 100% sure where I'm going, but we shall take a left here at this roundabout and see if this brings us anywhere near it. And knowing me, probably blooming not. But it looks familiar. Now it's probably about the third right down here. This thing is there. And there for public view as well. And I believe I can see it. And you wouldn't have never known by looking at this. I knew nothing about this item. But yes, it's here. The World War I acoustic mirror. Take a look at that, folks, eh? A World War I acoustic mirror. (1916) this was made. Put here to give us warning. What's it say? This structure is a sound mirror or detector built by Royal Engineers in 1916. It was part of the extensive Zeppelin and enemy aircraft detection system deployed down the east coast of Britain during the First World War. Zeppelins raided the northeast coast 15 times between April 1915 and November 1917. The sound of approaching aircraft was reflected off the concave mirror surface and received into a trumpet mounted on a steel column. The trumpet was connected to a stethoscope used by an operator or listener, and the part of the dish that produced the most sound indicated the direction of the approaching aircraft. Advance warning of imminent attack could then be given to a local period. But by the early 1940s, sound detection technology was being replaced by the reflective detection finding, not now known, should I say, as radar. There you are. Absolutely brilliant. And this is still here. So obviously they've had some sort of mirror in there. It's crazy how this sort of thing worked, isn't it, eh? You know, as I say, with all these things that I've got, I'll put up some pictures of them, and then you'll be able to see them actually in use, possibly. Hopefully there'll be some pictures I can put up for them. I've definitely got some of the viaduct and Hutton Gate station, railway station and things like that. But there you go. A World War I early warning station, the acoustic mirror. Who would have known that? In the middle of a housing estate. And it's all not it's recently just been built. Right, so what we're going to do now, folks, is we're going to go to Saltburn. And we're going to go see our next subject, which is the funicular railway, or more commonly known as Saltburn cliff lift. So onwards. So as we're heading towards Saltburn, I'm going to pull up at the top of the cliff and show you the cliff from the top and explain a little bit about the funicular cliff, and then we'll have a look down the bottom to get the view of it from the bottom, and then we'll move on from there to the next item that I'll be showing you, which is the old mortuary. And as I've said, there will be some pictures to accompany this video, and hopefully you can see all these as they were donkeys years ago and in action. Not so much the mortuary though, you'll just see pictures of that. There's so much to see on your doorstep. I mean, it just shows you what I've showed you today. You don't have to travel far to actually see things. If you're interested in that sort of thing, history, nature and stuff like that, there's so much around here that there is to explore. Now I intend to do a few more of these, whether it's of interest to you, but I am making them primarily for myself, because my kids like to see this too. and I think it's a good way to learn, you know. What more can you do? You're on a motorbike, you're learning about history. It's the best of both worlds for me. There's the railway bridge. So we'll travel around the actual coastal road of Saltburn towards the funicular cliff lift. And I think we're just about to come up towards the cliff lift. It's the Saltburn Cliff Lift Tramway. Now, as I've said to you here, it says almost you can't see that there's any parking, but we're going to go in here. This, and what you can see here, folks, is Saltburn Cliff Lift. It was constructed between 1883 and 1884, and that was to replace a vertical cliff hoist, which was designed, this was designed by John Anderson. So what we'll do now is we'll go from here down to the bottom and show you it from the bottom, so you get a view of it all. But we're a view of the cliffs as well around there, eh? And that's all part of the Cleveland Way too. So we're going to go down here, we're going to have actually a look at the cliff lift from the bottom, so you get a view of it from the bottom. So we're now down at the bottom, folks. I'm hoping that I might get a view of it coming down, but you never know. Stood at the bottom of this cliff lift, as you can see, the tramway. The funicular. I believe. So they've obviously got people in there who will be going up, and what they do is the top one, they fill the top one with water, which then becomes heavier than this bottom one, which then pulls it up, because they're both connected to a cable. Actually gives you a brief history, yeah. And that's a little bit of history about the hoist that used to be here before. John Anderson built, resident engineer to the Saltburn Improvement Company, designed and built a timber counterbalance cliff hoist in 1870, and it was dismantled in 1883, and then this was then built to replace it. There we go. The top one's now descending because it's got heavier than this bottom one. It's hard to believe that this has been on the go since 1800s. 1883, to 1884 it was built. Absolutely brilliant. Anyway, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to make my way over to the little mortuary, which is only just over there, and I'll bring you back and we'll have a little bit of discussion about that. And that should wrap up today's video for you folks. So now we're on to our last one, last but not least. the Saltburn mortuary. Now this mortuary was built in 1881. Long time ago, and prior to 1881 they used to take the bodies that washed up ashore into the ship inn. And it was purely for bodies washing up. By the tide, would take them into the mortuary here. Yes, prior to 1881, before the mortuary was built, they used to take the bodies into the ship. And so they then decided to build this. Although it's locked nowadays, and I don't believe you can get in, which you can't. You can just to see that it says mortuary 1881 on there. It's a shame it's fallen into a little bit of disrepair. But I have some photos of this, of the inside, which I'll show you and include in this video. But that, folks, is my last thing of today. That's 5 items I've showed you today. And what more can you ask for to end in a beautiful Victorian town such as Saltburn? So what I'm going to say to you is this: if you want to, why don't you show me 5 things that you find interesting around your town as an idea for a motor vlog. It'd be absolutely brilliant to see what you've come up with, and it gives me also ideas to go visit. So I'd really appreciate that fact if you could. I'll take some photos again of the places I've visited today, and hopefully you'll enjoy them. Hope you've enjoyed this video, folks. So from me, Paul, from All About Motorbikes, in the village of Saltburn, or the town of Saltburn, whatever you want to call it. Bye for now, folks. Bye.